It is the second of our quarter-finals today in the Dublin Senior Football Championship. Remember, you can join the conversation via hashtag GoAheadDSF1. Castleknock taking on Thomas Davis. Coleman Goggins, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's a real interesting battle. Thomas Davis are one of those teams who are very well set up defensively, very well structured, very hard to get in at them in terms of getting scores. The flip side of that is that they don't often build up massive scores themselves, and now they can create a lot of opportunities. They probably don't have, the same level of forwards, we say, when you're speaking about your maybe Kilmacud Crokes, the talent maybe that Nafina have from an attacking point of view. We've just seen Ballyboden in the previous game to this who have, forwards who are very direct and able to get scores. But they certainly have players capable of creating chances. It's just a matter of how clinical they can be when they try and do that. So from a Davis' point of view, from a Castleknock point of view, taking on Davis, they're going to come up against a fairly solid defensive unit. So they're going to have to be quite clever, Castleknock, in how they try and outsmart them and create space and create scores. I don't see a flurry of scores, albeit that in their game against Whitehall, Castleknock did ratchet up 3-14 and were unlucky to lose that game. A goal and 2 points in injury time, really, or heading towards injury time, and then injury time, seeing Whitehall come out on top on that. And we've seen them yesterday, were only a point off in terms of getting the draw with Nafina and maybe challenge them even further in terms of moving into the semi-finals. From a Castleknock perspective, there's still a bit of youthful exuberance to them in some respects. They have, real direct running. They're a bit like Ballantyre in that they're probably a little bit further down the road in terms of their physicality and their seasoning, how seasoned they are, I should say. So what you have probably is, Thomas Davis set up from a defensive point of view. That'll be Castleknock trying to break them down, and then Castleknock on the other hand full of running and movement that then will challenge hopefully that Davis' backline. So look, it's an interesting mix in terms of the two teams. Castleknock were in a county final a number of years ago. Davis' themselves were here a couple of years back too. So teams who have been good enough to get to the final, albeit they didn't win it. So both again will look at this as opportunity to be one step away again from a Dublin county final, which would be a great achievement for either of them to achieve in terms of hitting a semi-final.
Well, as you said, they've both been in finals in recent years. Unfortunately, neither of them have won those finals. The last time Thomas Davis were Dublin senior champions was 1991. That was the end of a 3-in-a-row run. Castleknock didn't even exist.
Yeah, remarkable.
Davis.
And that was a serious team that Thomas Davis had at that time. Like Sir Paul Curran obviously would have been involved. But they were dominated Dublin at that time. The team that probably followed them after that then was Nafina, when they had that period of dominance around Dublin County Final. So you're right, Castleknock is a very new club, and to be at where they're at in terms of the levels where they're competing in senior championship is remarkable for such a young club. But they have some obvious talent in the side, and then they've come through those rounds without Kieran Kilkenny. So they've demonstrated that they're not banking on your inter-county player to come back and win matches for you, whereas other teams maybe will be a little bit reliant on that side of things. So Kilkenny comes back into a team that's actually performing and hopefully can add to that, as opposed to coming into a team who's looking for him to deliver a big performance, because he's certainly capable of adding to what Castleknock have already achieved so far this year.
I'm not sure if you saw him on screen there, but he was on the bottom of your picture, just kind of dancing past the 45. He looks fit, he looks ready. The referee for this game, by the way, is Gary McCormack. These two met in the league earlier this season, 416 to 110 the score on the day. But I think it's fair to say, Coleman, we can't really read anything into that.
No, definitely not. I mean, you can... championship football is totally different. There's a different level of physicality that exists when you reach championship. You've just seen in the last game, for those who have joined us, Ballyboden are a little bit further down the road in terms of that, physicality that you bring to championship football. Castleknock, albeit that they're a younger side, they have some, big hitters within the group there and some really physical players. Davis definitely won't step back from a challenge. So what you'll find is that possession will be, hard fought and hard contested here, and then it's a matter of who can get the scores off the opportunities they're going to create. Castleknock potentially have that little bit more of a dangerous inside line if Kieran Kilkenny stays in there for a little bit, but even outside of that, his movement around the field will create opportunities for others to get scores, and he could prove the difference in this game given what he brings to a team.
It's a busy time for both clubs. Obviously at the top level they have this senior football quarter final next weekend. Thomas Davis involved in the Senior 2 relegation playoffs in hurling, and there's a good few dual players on that Thomas Davis starting 15 today and in the squad. Castleknock involved in the quarter-finals in Senior 2 hurling. They are the defending champions in that. They didn't get promoted to Senior 1 hurling last year because of a restructuring in the Dublin Championship. They have their eyes on a double this year. Castleknock in the blue and gold, Thomas Davis in the green and gold with the stripe running down through the jersey. The conditions playing ball, beautiful, beautiful day in Dublin. Slight breeze, but no rain. I don't think the players could ask for any better. St. Pat's of Donabate trailing St. Vincent's by 2-10 to 1-5, by the way, in the Senior 2 quarter-final. St. Vincent taking another step back towards Senior 1 by the looks of it. Remember, the two finalists go up in Senior 2 this year. The draw for the Senior 2 semi-finals and the Senior 1 semi-finals to be made after this game. Will that be made after a game that finishes in normal time or extra time or possibly after penalties? Remember, it has to end on the day. There is one late change for Castleknock. Darren Warnock has started. He wasn't down to start, but he is starting. Just looking around for Thomas Davis. None that I can see so far. Robert Crilly with the baseball cap on today, making his way back towards the Donnycarney church end, giving a fist pump there to Ryan Deegan. So Castleknock against Thomas Davis. Two teams who will see themselves as having a chance of winning in the Dublin Senior Championship this year. The go-ahead Dublin Senior Championship. The last quarter-final of the weekend. Who do you think is going to come through?
Are you asking me, or is that just one of those rhetorical questions you're hoping that some...
If you want to avoid it, you can pass it off as rhetorical.
I think they're two teams who are very well matched in terms of their physicality, the way they're going to set themselves up. I just wonder if Kieran Kilkenny stays in close to goal, could he prove to have that little bit extra that might get Castleknock over the line. But it will be hard, very hard for both teams to create scoring opportunities.
Ball in, game on, getting his hands on it early on. Tom Quinn, one of the more experienced members of the panel. Kieran Kilkenny is the intended target. It bounces away from him, but he gets it back under control. He's so good at controlling possession. And then it's popped off by Ben Galvin. Galvin was waiting, it never came back his way. Tommy McDaniel drives on, and Tommy McDaniel kicks the first wide, unfortunately, from his point of view.
Yeah, lovely little dummy solo that freed him up a little bit of space, just wasn't accurate enough with the shot. Goes back to the point I've made. Chances are going to be at a premium here. You really need to deliver when you get those opportunities, because they both set up very structured defensively.
Davy Keogh at pace. Very decent hurler, Davy Keogh. Not bad at football either. Owen Lambert in on goal. They're trying to work it here, Thomas Davis. Great save by Morven Connolly. Originally from Gary Moore and Mayo, but very much a Castleknock man. And that was a fantastic block.
Yeah, I wonder did they just had an extra pass when it wasn't needed. Maybe they could have had the shot just before that. Even the pass that went across was a small bit flighty, so it held in the air for that extra second. And at this level, as with all levels, anything that just gives a defender an extra second to try and get reset is so critical. But in fairness to Mervyn Connolly, stood tall there, got a block on it, and I mentioned that chance to be at a premium. Clearly I've got that wrong. A goal chance within a minute, but a great stop by Connolly results in a 45. But great move. I think it was full back Lambert who was the one in the supporting move led into that, and that's where you see those goal chances created. Full back backing up when you're not expecting him to be there.
Here's Fionn Murray. Nice backspin on that one, but it just spun away from goal. A wide apiece.
Yeah, looks like Lambert has just come up to the middle of the field that he's picking up. Looks like he's going to be doing a job on Tom Shields around the middle of the field, so he'll probably drop back every time Castleknock pick up possession as an extra player, but he's certainly hanging out around the middle.
Ball broke kindly, helped on there to Eamon Conroy.
There's a whistle blown.
Well, it's been a bit stop-starty in the last minute or so. Shane Boland, the player manager. One of the first players to ever train with Castleknock. He was there at the very first training session, turning and running his own Sawyer. An All-Ireland winner at under 20 level with Offaly. Kicks it wide.
Yeah, disappointing. Managed to get into a little bit of space. Bit of a breeze maybe coming over the stand there, but still 2 good chances that Castleknock have left behind them early on here.
I know it's very early, but is it fair to say a nervy start?
Yeah, I think both. I don't know if it's nervy. I think it's just
Tight.
championship football. Exactly, it's tight. Everything is has to happen so quick. That extra second is not afforded to you in championship football. So I'd say that's probably the challenge that's in front of the 2 teams.
Gavin Carruth, that's risky. And it's a risk that doesn't pay off. Collecting that was Tom Quinn. Moved on by Shaw. Shane Boland. Senan Forker. Overcooks it towards Galvin, who can't keep it in play.
Yeah, disappointing pass. Obviously they're all back defensively. They only leave one man up, so then it's that transition where you're coming out of pace. So when the move is out onto the wing, you need to make those passes stick. Just sends it over the sideline, turns over possession, gives Davis a chance to build again.
Senan Forker, who got a goal against Thomas Davis in 2019 in the minor final. One of a couple of big clashes between those 2 clubs that year. They also met in the quarter-final. Thomas Davis beating Castleknock on their way to a final, which wasn't bad considering they had just come back up from Senior 2 football. Davy Keogh.
So this is the point I was talking about, just defensive. Everyone behind the ball for Castleknock. They've left one up front. Want to make it really tight for Davis, want to make them work for a score, so you're going to kick from distance.
That's wide.
Yeah, not happy. He's looking at the sideline there. I think Sean Farley, he thought it had gone over the bar. It's not going to change anybody's mind. Great press on the kick out.
Well, he looked very confident. Castleknock give away the free. Tom Shields just could not escape, and Murray, the Dublin under-20 player, would have the chance to knock this one over.
Yeah, they're so strong, physical, Thomas Davis again, that they put pressure on the kick out. They work so hard to try and shut down the options.
Four wide so far. Are we to get our first point? 2 wides each. Murray with the breeze at his back. Sails that one over.
Yeah, lovely technique. Just followed through on the ball there. He's not looking to burst it over the bar. Lovely flow through on his technique. Sends it over and the opening score after 5 minutes. I think we had 5 scores in the game before this. By the 5th minute, a goal and a point to 3 points or 4 points, I think it was at that stage. 5 minutes in here, only a point. So that's how tight it's going to be defensively here.
Kieran Farley, the Thomas Davis manager, watching on today, scored a goal when these 2 met in 2019 in the quarter-final. Gavin Carruth looking down the park as Castleknock go on the attack. Ben Galvin spitting out of tackles. Free in Castleknock.
Yeah, I think he fouled the ball as well, and the hand pass out of trouble there, but the referee, Gary McCormack, had seen a free just prior to that. Again, the less contact you can avoid in these type of games, the better for your own team, your own forwards, that they can get into a little bit of space. Obviously, you're going to be met at some point, but carrying into traffic there, you can just see how difficult it is then to free yourself up, despite the fact that they have obviously won a free here.
Ger McDermott Rowe. Castleknock looking for the equaliser. And the wait is over. It wasn't a very long wait. 1 free apiece, 1 point apiece. It's as tight as we expected it to be so far.
Yeah, great kick, difficult angle for him, so nice to get one. Sometimes it's the easy free you look for to get started. Great pressure by Rob Shaw.
Magnificent work by Shaw.
Great score by McDermott Rowe.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and anything that we've got on, including live games and draws and everything like that, it'll pop up automatically. You won't have to go looking for it. We have a draw after this game. We'll take a slight break after the game, and then we'll be back with the draw for the Senior 2 and Senior 1 Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship draws. Deegan went forward there, cut back. Carruth. Owen Kirby pointing the way, then moving it backwards. Sean Kennedy. Robert Crilly. Such an experienced stopper. Waddick. Guilfoyle. Guilfoyle trying to sell the dubby. Guilfoyle trying to squeeze it over. That's an exquisite point from Conor Guilfoyle.
Yeah, great score. He showed hard, probably the ball prior to that into this corner nearest us on this side of the field, but worked so hard to get out in front, win the possession, and then just to take that extra step to give him the space to kick it over the bar. And again, pressure on the kick out from Davis. Unlucky to not get something out of that. Referee deems that he stripped the ball from him rather than tackle him fairly, but real heavy pressure on the kick out Davis are applying.
1 up Ryan. Milmore moved on by Boland, took the hit. Shaw trying to get away from Davy Keogh. Galvin finds a route through. McDermott Rowe goes wide.
Yeah, I think Ryan Deegan was fortunate there that there was an advantage played. He left a late tackle on Rob Shaw on the far side. Unfortunate not to get a score out of it, but maybe sometimes that free might just suit a little bit better than maybe the action that carried on after it. But again, away with Davis.
Deegan. Back out to Deegan from Fallon. Thomas Davis working it through the lines. That's a decent looking run. And it's a wide. It had the legs, it didn't have the accuracy.
Yeah, 6 wides apiece, so it's not like they're not creating, it's just that they're not delivering or being clinical enough in front of goal. Well worked kick out by Connolly to get it away.
Moves it off to Boland, going long with it as Warnock. It's intercepted. Thomas Davis try one long, and it's the same result. Rob Shaw. Shane Boland. Kieran Kilkenny. Look at the draw in his man, Gavin Carruth. Kilkenny lost it, regathered, got the pass away. Kilkenny receiving from Tom Shields. Kilkenny leaves it behind. Davy Keogh in to sweep it up. Eamon Conroy.
It's a great score.
A very good point by Conroy. He's first of the game.
Great score. Castleknock were expecting him to let a ball inside to the inside line. He didn't. He kept travelling. No one came to meet him. He just set it himself and knocked it over the bar. That's a brilliant score.
Castleknock lose it in contact. It was Milmore. Can Thomas Davis take advantage? Murray wants it. It doesn't come to him, but a free in is awarded.
They're really at this, Thomas Davis. They've started the game. They've kicked a couple of wides certainly, but they're really at this in terms of their press, in terms of their work rate. You can see guys have hands on heads. They're sucking in a little bit of air, but that's how hard they've worked in these opening 10 minutes. Castleknock probably need to raise the game a little bit to get to the same level that Davis is operating at. Shaw pick a card, leaves him a bit tight for the next 50 minutes or so. But a great start. Be delighted from a Davis' perspective that you're really at it in terms of the pace of the game.
Murray, as you would expect, puts it over. His second free of the game, and it's a 3-point match.
Yeah, and they're causing a lot of their own problems. Castleknock here, and Kilkenny turned over a ball here. They turned over a ball on the far side of the field. Pressure on the kick-outs. So Daves are really putting a push on here to see if they can drive home the advantage that they have by putting pressure on Connolly's kick-out.
Morven Connolly, living in Dublin but teaching in Meath. Good take by Ryan Deegan.
Yeah, I think Cian Murphy might have gave a shove in the back as Deegan was coming across. It's a silly little mistake when you're so dominant to allow Castleknock just slow things down.
I should say that's where Connolly was teaching when he first moved to Dublin. Tom Shields. Shields gets it back. McDermott Rowe. Forker continues his run, gets it back from Warnock. Advantage is coming, and now the free is coming.
Yeah, there's a decision made there really not to let you break the line. It's when you break the line that they're then looking to get guys coming at pace or runners coming to try and support. So Davis is very clear in what their ambition is, to stop it up this far out from goal and not let it inside.
Ben Galvin. Shane Boland. Tom Shields. Tommy McDaniel. Kilkenny takes it well. Kilkenny can't draw it back in. A fourth wide from a shooting opportunity for Castleknock.
Yeah, Kay Murphy did well, stood strong there, bounced Kilkenny backwards as he turned. You back him probably to knock it over the bar, he didn't. You also look at the way Davis' kick out has been conceded by Castleknock. They're obviously setting up to drop back and cause, a clutter in their own defensive line, although that line has been broken now.
Sean Kennedy. Plenty of movement in front. Owen Kirby wants it in the square. Sean Farley gets caught in possession. Kieran Kilkenny moves it. Good turn by Shane Boland. He looks to me like he's fouled. Referee playing advantage. Free for Castleknock. We'll stop play for a second, and while we have a stoppage, I will tell you that Thomas Davis are back in action in a big game next Friday night, the Dublin Ladies Senior Football Final against Kilmacud Crooks, and I'm delighted to say we'll have that live on Dubs TV. Will the club still be going for a senior double at that stage? We'll find out today. Ger McDermott Rowe. Tommy McDaniel trying to turn his man Adam Fallon, but Fallon stood really strong. Thomas Davis come away with it.
Yeah, he was unlucky maybe to lose his footing, Tommy McDaniel, but once he did, he was snapped up by Adam Fallon. And it's where, this is where Davis just need to inject that little bit of pace he's done for overcarrying. It's that transition out. They have so many behind the ball that they need to get out that little bit quicker to give options on the ball. Otherwise you're looking at a foot pass of 40 yards, which really isn't on.
Tom Shields, the looping run from Shane Boland. Boland gets it back from Kilkenny. Boland in a good position. Tried to find Owen O'Brien. Maybe, just maybe, he should have taken the shot on.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't back himself. He looked for a run inside that maybe would create a goal chance. When that didn't happen, he probably should have swung the boot and knocked it over the bar just to get another score chalked up for Castleknock, doesn't it? It's Fionn Murray who's back supporting, who mops up the ball. This is where the bit of a breakdown in Davis' game plan is. They've so many behind the ball that they've only got one left up, so you're not going to deliver a 40-yard foot pass. So they just need a little bit more pace coming out, possibly to challenge that Castleknock middle area of the field.
Phil Murray. Cian Murphy. Murphy has a go, doesn't catch it right. Connolly. Well, I guess he can laugh about it now because Castleknock got through to the knockout stages, but I don't think he was giggling very much when he conceded that goal against Whitehall Colmkill.
No, but nice of you to remind him of it, I have to say, Mushin, in fairness to you.
He has more than enough credit in the bank for Castleknock, Morven Connolly. Kieran Kilkenny. Millmore. Ger McDermott Rowe. I'll be kind to him and say that was a collective failure as opposed to an individual failure. Running after it, Rob Shaw. Shaw gets there. Niall Millmore. Ger McDermott Rowe. Sails it over Gallivan. It's a little bit loose. Boland, the former under-21 All-Ireland winner, gets there and wins the free. He was brave.
He was very brave because he knew he was going to get hit by it. Probably looking at to see a card here, but the way he went across with his boot, Guilfoyle, I don't think there was any malice meant in it, but he did have it raised going across towards the ball. I think Gary McCormack is looking to have a chat, all right. Yeah, it's nothing more than a word. But look, you can see where Castleknock, they're working it inside to the corners. They're trying to come back out with the ball then. There's a huge physicality in that Davis' rear guard, the way they're set up, and very difficult to break down, but chance on a place ball here.
Drop short. Ger McDermott Rowe didn't catch it right. Cian Murphy takes it. Murphy, who looks slight, but he is incredibly powerful. Adam Waddick recycles. Sean Farrelly. Farrelly hangs that up, or does it have the legs to go over? It has the legs to go over. Good score from Sean Farrelly.
Yeah, that's a great score. Waited up before he let go with the boot. He's kicked 2 wides before he's landed that one, so brave enough to take it on again. But again, pressure on the kick out, lost by Castleknock. They're struggling here. Davis is really working hard.
There was a coming together after the ball was released there. We may come back to that, but Cian Murphy has his eye on goal. Cian Murphy will settle for a point because the route was blocked. It was a good point as well.
Yeah, he's getting up into the action. He's often been named to play as a corner back when he's tugged out for Davis. Has ended up in the forwards, one of the group stage games that we were here watching. So much better from that attacker wing back position, getting up to support. I mentioned Davis is with players behind the ball. They're brilliant at that role, where they sometimes have a difficulty to get back out and support their inside line. And fortunately for them, because they're applying pressure on Castleknock's kick out, they're not having to drop as deep, so they're able to create those scoring chances. That's 5 on the spin now. Castleknock without a score since they've only the 1 score obviously, and that came in the 6th minute, so really struggling to make inroads here. 4 wides, 1 dropped into the goalie's arms as well, so need to start picking up a few possessions here and adding a couple of scores.
Connolly, he's discarded the cap because the sun has disappeared behind the clouds. That's a fantastic catch by Ger McDermott Rowe.
Yeah, brilliant take, so important. Shaw driving through the middle.
Rob Shaw has options, might take it on himself. Shaw will take it on himself and does score.
It's no coincidence, I suppose, that when you can secure your own kick out, your own possession, you allow the team to build. It's the concession of your kick out so deep in your own half that causes so many problems. But well scored, well run from Rob Shaw, and a great score.
Adam Waddick, the former Dublin minor hurling captain. Murray, can he turn his man? Murray does turn. Murray trying to get away from the contact zone. Had a little hack in it, but Boland was waiting.
Yeah, might have been unlucky not to have won a free, but the Castleknock rearguard did well to get around him and bottle them up and turn it over.
There's a bit more pace about Castleknock right now. Kieran Kilkenny is dropping deep as well. Forker goes out wide, Rob Shaw. Shaw juggles it, lost it, has to get it back again. Kilkenny trying to get away from Deegan. Kilkenny does get the pass away. Shane Boland. Owen O'Brien, who's played O'Byrne Cup football for Dublin. Poke down the line, I think they're looking for McDaniel. Well defended again, diving in there, getting a hand in was Aaron Shorten.
Yeah, that doesn't look good for Tommy Daniel. He's still down there, hopefully he can sort himself out, but Davis is moving away.
Boom forward by Kirby, looking for Murray. If Murray gets it, Castleknock are in trouble here. Great diving block, took the sting out of it.
Yeah, brilliant block, but look how isolated he was. It was a 40-yard pass inside, did brilliant to win it. Then when he turns, there's a block on it, but he's the only man up there, and that just goes back to the way Davis is set up. So good to a point. It's just adding that extra little bit that could really, really get at Castleknock if they had an extra few bodies coming out in attack to support their inside line.
All credit to Kieran Murphy for that block. Rob Shaw. Murphy has moved from an attacking or a defending position to an attacking position. Rob Shaw. Boland. McDaniel is still getting treatment. They'll want to keep him on. He is a good man to take the ball and turn defences.
Yeah, I think he's recovering there. I think he'll be probably okay again in a minute or two.
Scored 1-3 when these two met in the quarter-final of 2019. The Westmeath man Tommy McDaniel. Here's Owen Sawyer, speaking of the Midlands. Offaly's Owen Sawyer. Decent hurler as well. Shane Boland. McDaniel. Boland. Kilkenny. Tom Shields. Went short. Shane Boland. Thomas Davis with almost everyone behind the ball. Now everyone is behind the ball. Tom Quinn. Kieran Murphy.
It's absolutely packed there in the inside 45 line. So hard for space. Body checked on the way through was Owen O'Brien, so it gives them a chance from a place ball. But that's how difficult. You see how hard Castleknock are working to try and create those little bits of space. You know, Thomas Davis, everyone back behind the ball, doing the job from a defensive point of view. Gives a chance to McDermott Rowe from very much a similar position. He kicked the last one that it landed short.
McDermott Rowe against the breeze, which is stiff enough. Dragged it wide.
Yeah, disappointing effort. I think he got a couple of runners there towards the ball. He decided to go against them and go with himself, backed himself to kick it over the bar. That's their 5th one they've kicked wide.
You can see it there in the corner, actually. You can still see it on the keeper's left. A load of kids from Thomas Davis getting behind the goal, bringing a bit of colour, bringing a bit of noise. Sean Farley looks to give them something to cheer about. Moved it off to Owen Kirby. That's a delicious point from Owen Kirby.
That's a really great score. Turns back onto his left foot to knock it over the bar. Great work by the inside line throughout. Showing hard for the ball, then supporting on the ball. When they get in there, they're inside line working so hard to try and create scores. A little bit of a breeze supporting with all the efforts, but still a brilliant score.
Kirby, former captain, long serving member of the panel. Castleknock win the free. They're 5 down. This is the man you'd want on the ball when you're a couple of points down, Owen Sawyer. But he's isolated and there was no support.
Yeah, brilliant work by Davis. They all galloped back. Defender did enough just to slow him down for that split second, and when he turned, he hit this wall of green. Gives Davis a chance to counter. This is the transition. Can they move it quick enough before Castleknock get bodies behind the ball?
Deegan down the line to Guilfoyle. Guilfoyle picks a pass, a good one as well. Kirby's blocked down this time. They do get it back though. Didn't catch his shot right, Conor Guilfoyle.
Great block, Owen O'Brien there. Got right out in front of Owen Kirby. Get the block.
Boland receives it from Forker. Boland has to carry it on because there was no option up top. There was no one to give the ball to.
Brilliant on the ball, so comfortable, rarely ever gives it away. Is always trying to look for the right pass. Absolutely had a chance for his own score earlier in the half.
McDermott Rowe, Kieran Kilkenny. Kieran Murphy is up there with him. McDermott Rowe. Tommy McDaniel. Heard the shout from behind. That shout came from Senan Forker. Shane Boland. Shaw. Shaw wins the free.
Yeah, I think probably more an accidental coming together rather than anything else. Don't think there's a danger of a black card or anything. Shaw's done well on that right side. Not specifically being marked as such. The way Davis has set it up, it's dropping bodies back behind it. So he's getting a lot of ball, letting have opportunity on the ball. So there's definitely an outlet there for Castleknock if they can land more ball on Rob Shaw.
Castleknock playing against the stiff breeze in the first half. Yeah. 5 points between them. 3 minutes plus injury time to go. Warnock. Shaw. Good ball. Forker. Rushed the shot. Ben Galvin tackling hard. But a little bit over the top, free out for Thomas Davis.
Yeah, great pace by Forker. That time, just again, the execution, sadly lacking for him. I think Castleknock probably be the ones looking for half-time more so than Thomas Davis. A couple of bits of their game not going well for them half-time. Will give them a chance to reset, maybe just reshape how they're setting up. Quite clear that their game isn't working in terms of getting that player coming off the shoulder with that little bit of pace. Davis is much more comfortable, much better set up so far in this first half.
Well, if there's any team in the Dublin Championship who know not to take anything for granted at half-time, it's Thomas Davis. Granted, this is the other side of the coin. Against St. Jude's in the last group match, they looked down and out and they turned it around. So they will know that this is not done, regardless of the lead they have at the break. Gavin Carruth gave it off there to Adam Fallon. Owen Kirby. Moved off by Sean Kennedy. Snaking forward with Shorten. Kirby lays it off. Deegan. Deegan's pass is blocked. Tom Shields. Said Forker, I beg your pardon. Either way, it's a free to Castleknock.
Yeah, not only a free, I think there'll be a black card here. I think, Ryan Deegan took him to the ground there, so be interesting to see what the referee's interpretation of it is. Just struggled to get it under control, and then when he lost, he was probably a bit frustrated. But it's just a matter of what way Gary McCormack's seen that as to how he took him to the ground. Potentially black card in that he may have deemed it a pull down. And it'd be a big punishment for them.
Well, he's very clearly indicated it's a pull down, it's a black card. And
Yeah,
Ryan Deegan gets an early break.
I think it's the right decision. I think he did get spoken to before that, Deegan, just about free, so he's definitely going into the book. But if he maybe see it again at half time, definitely looked like he took him down to the ground. So it's a big punishment for Davis. It's been going well. Gives Castleknock maybe an opportunity before the end of the half to get a couple of scores with the extra player if they use it correctly.
Tom Quinn. Kieran Murphy. Now there might be a bit of extra space there for Castleknock. Tom Shields. Again, Thomas Davis with all 14 of their players that are still on the pitch behind the ball. Forker. Gallivan. Moved off by Millmore. Shaw. Shields. Gallivan. Boland. Looking for Kilkenny. Eventually Kilkenny gets there. Good scoop out to McDaniel. Kilkenny. McDaniel. Stripped. Great tackle.
Yeah, and that's from Sean Farrelly, the corner forward, who's back. Here comes Davis as he's very much isolated. Can they get more out to support him?
Murphy got forward, but there was no one in front of him. He was between the 65s and he had no choice but to go backwards. Guilfoyle.
Yeah, they've no one inside the 45, Thomas Davis, so it's a real case of getting up to help out. But great work defensively with Sean Farrelly, as I mentioned, who got the turnover. So,
Kieran Murphy.
yeah, it's a bad giveaway.
Shields. Dara Warnock. Can't remember too much stoppage time, so they don't have much time to get a score before the break. Owen Sawyer. That's a really good run. Warnock. Warnock has space. He also has Kilkenny. Kilkenny in the square. Spills it out to McDaniel. McDaniel! A great diving block there from Adam Fallon. Fallon actually didn't get anything on it, but he did enough to distract McDaniel, I think.
Yeah, he definitely did. Threw his body on the line, came across McDaniel. Kilkenny did well to scoop it on. Maybe just took an extra second for him to get the ball, but he was so well closed down. Mentioned how tough it was going to be for Castleknock to break down Thomas Davis defensively. They're so well structured inside that 45. They don't cough up a huge amount of goal scoring opportunities. Admittedly, Castleknock have left a few behind them. 5 wides, 1 drop short into the goalkeeper's hands. But they will come out second half, probably a little bit rejuvenated. And they'll also have maybe 6 or 7 minutes of a player advantage given that black card that was issued late on to Ryan Deegan.
Okay, let's have a look at some of the highlights of the first half. A first half in which Thomas Davis have built up a 5-point lead.
Yeah, I guess it was slow to get going and that we were waiting on frees. This was the goal chance. The pass probably just a little flighty, but that's probably been disrespectful to Morvan Connolly on the goal line there, who did a great save. Free that started off proceedings there with Fionn Murray, and then there was a response at the other end of the field from Ger McDermott Rowe, but from there it was about Davis's as they reeled off 6 points without reply from Castleknock. 4 from play and 1 from a One from a free, really big score here, cutting in on the right side, lofts it over the bar. Mentioned that there's a breeze supporting with them. Keane Murphy, who's been supporting in attack. It's a soft giveaway in terms of a free, but it's still going to allow Fionn Murray deliver, which he did. Big tackle stack made it so hard for them to free up space. This is where we thought Boland maybe should have gone himself. Fionn Murray back helping out. Sean Farrelly picks it up here. Backs himself when he gets into space. Launches it over the bar. Great score. That had it at 5 points to 1. There's about 80 minutes on the clock. Then they put a pressure on the kick out. Murphy this time who knocked it over. And it was Davis then at 6 points to 1. Rob Shaw, I mentioned, getting a bit of traction down that right side. Went to the good run. When Davis aren't set up, there is that little bit of space to go for scores. That's only their second point of the half. The only one they've managed to get from play in this opening half. And then this is a great score. Left boot turns in on himself. Absolute great score. 3 brilliant scores that we've seen off that side, from that side of the field. Deegan just couldn't get control of the ball when it gets turned over here. Yeah, from Gary McCormack's perspective, you can see why it's black card material. And then it just opens up here. Goal chance. Kilkenny gets bottled up, but watch Murphy coming across here, flying. Everything went down to try and get the block. Dishes out wide. Poor end to the half. 7 points to 2 in favour of Thomas Davis.
Castleknock struggling to get scores. Thomas Davis solid and really difficult to break down, and getting enough to keep their noses in front. They lead by 7 points to 2 at the break. Just to let you know, St Vincent's are through to the go-ahead Dublin Senior 2 Football Championship semi-finals. They've beaten St Pat's of Donabate 218 to 1-6. So that is the semi-final lineup complete in Senior 2. To find out who the other 3 teams are and who'll be in the draw, which will be made live on Dubs TV after this game, go to Dublin GA, the website and all the social media channels. Earlier today, Clontarf beaten by Raheny, so Raheny will stay in Senior 1. Clontarf will play Senior 2 football next year. We're at half-time in the 4th and final quarter-final of the weekend. It has to end today, even if it requires penalties, so this one could go all the way. I just have a feeling that Castleknock are going to make a bit of a comeback here. And Thomas Davis, well, they know that even though they've got a comfortable lead now, that can be whittled down very, very quickly. Half-time, 7-2 Thomas Davis lead. Don't forget to subscribe. And anything that we do, any games we show or draws that we do will pop up automatically. You won't have to go looking for them. And that is the case for the draw, which we made after this game. We'll take a short break at the end of this match, and then we'll be back with the Senior 2 and Senior 1 semi-final draw. Who will be in the draw for Senior 1? Will it be Thomas Davis or Castleknock? We'll find out over the next while. Stay with us, we'll be back shortly. Welcome back for the second half of Thomas Davis and Castleknock in the go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship quarter-final. 7-2 the score as we go into the second half. Thomas Davis with a 5-point lead. Castleknock have goals in them. Coleman, they're going to have to find them, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that they need to get their radar, whether it's goals or points. They definitely need to tune in a little bit more. I mentioned 5 wides in the first half, 1 dropped short into the goalkeeper's hands from a free. So they need to get the radar working first of all. Big problem is breaking that defensive line in terms of creating goal scoring opportunities because of the way that Davis has worked so hard in that area of the field. There is a bit of a breeze back in them second half. I'd expect them to be a little bit better in terms of their application across the second half. Davis will feel that 30 minutes of football here could get them into a championship semi-final if they're able to go as hard as they have in that first half. Some 3 excellent scores they got in the first half. And also Castleknock have probably a 6 or 7 minutes here where Ryan Deegan is still on the bench with that black card that he picked up in the last couple of minutes of the first half.
So, can Castleknock find a way back? It's more than possible, it's more than believable that they can. Dara Warnock wins the free, goes outside to Ben Galvin. Galvin has a look up, sees Kilkenny. Galvin wants it back. Kilkenny tries to draw it in, it might stay alive. It does stay alive, that's Sawyer. Can he turn and get a shot away? He couldn't, but McDaniel squeezes one over. They had to work hard for it, but it was worth the wait.
Yeah, I'm not sure the umpires were 100% sure. McDaniel certainly was. Kilkenny's shot hung and hung and hung. In fairness to McDaniel, not only did he keep the ball in play, he's the one that picked it up again to knock it over the bar. Good start to the second half for Castleknock. A lot more life in that first attack that maybe they delivered across the opening half. And that direct route, Kilkenny showing hard from that full forward line, can create problems for Davis's.
Crilly's kick out intercepted by Kieran Kilkenny. McDaniel and Sawyer collide. Sawyer gets it up, spills it out. McDermott Rowe wide, got the possession, couldn't take the chance.
Just got in each other's way there. Kilkenny that picked up the kick out. That's really where you want to be punishing. Popped the ball on. The two of them ran into each other. And then they lose the possession, lose the chance of the score and clock up another wide.
I think players on both sides frustrated here. They want to get it going, but Thomas Davis not in as much of a rush as Castleknock. Obviously Ryan Deegan is still in, can we call it the sin bin? I know that's more of a rugby term than a Gaelic football term, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, and another minute or two been wasted here. Took the kick out despite the fact that Owen Sawyer was inside the 21 metre line.
Knew exactly what he was doing.
He did, surely.
Crilly. It's a much better kick out this time around. Cian Murphy gathers it. Murphy spotted a gap and ran right through it. Waddick. Good cushion pass, taking it well, Conor Guilfoyle. Guilfoyle, great footwork. Guilfoyle doesn't catch the shot right. Thomas Davis against the breeze in the second half. I think that was a bit of a factor there.
Yeah, he did well. I thought he was going to shoot earlier. He didn't. He took another step, which I thought was going to allow him get the score. But he's worked really hard, Guilfoyle. He shows so hard for the ball, shows early. Just unlucky not to get the accuracy on the shot.
Galvin has Murphy as an option. Just away from the fingertips there of Tommy McDaniel.
I honestly don't think he was expecting a rush and he was kind of caught on his heels a little bit. He did make a great effort to try and win it, but I honestly don't think he was expecting the ball to come in from Galvin that way.
Guilfoyle laid it off there, comes to Gavin Carruth. Carruth back outside. Owen Kirby. Adam Fallon, I think that is. That's a fantastic save by Connolly. Owen O'Brien got a little bit of luck with the break there. Fionn Murray tries to get it back up and keep it alive. Rob Shaw pickpockets him. We'll get a look at that again in a second, but Castleknock try and play down the park. It bounces away from Forker. He just about gets it under control. Warnock. Shields. McDaniel's in the square. Goes to Kilkenny instead. Kilkenny out to Galvin. Another wide from Castleknock.
From a forward point of view, to create the chances and just be pulling them on the wrong side. Previous to that, brilliant save by Mervyn Connolly. Brilliant to get down,
Let's have a look at
the
that
ball.
save actually, because that could be a key moment.
Yeah, great save. Great pass here. If you just watch the cushion pass inside, tries to cut across the defender. The defender does really well to stand up. Great stop. Full back helps him out in the end, and Rob Shaw comes away with it. Castleknock had arguably a half goal chance just before the break. That's really Thomas Davis' first clear cut chance at goal. They have a guy down injured here just outside the 45.
4 between them. Castleknock have had the chances to narrow the gap. Just in case you didn't hear, at half-time St Vincent's have beaten St Pat's down a bit 2-18 to 1-6. So they march on to the semi-finals. The draw for which will be made after this game live on Dubs TV.
Owen Kirby back to his feet there. Looks a little bit shook, but hopefully good to continue.
Kirby covered by O'Brien, who got a little bit lucky that his kind of hacked rebound went away from the face of goal. Cian Murphy. Crilly. Owen Kirby. Numbers mean little in this Thomas Davis team. They could pop up anywhere, any of these players, couldn't they?
Yeah, it's all about work rate. Without the ball, let's get back, help out defensively. Their full back is currently in the full forward line. It's about possession of the ball, guys in the right place. Kilmacud Crokes probably masters of that, the way that they rotate positions. And it comes back to ability on the ball. Everyone has to be comfortable on the ball.
Waddock fouled.
Sean Murray is coming out looking like he's going to take it, but I'm not 100% sure it's within his range.
And just a reminder, he's against the breeze.
Yeah, the referee Gary McCormick's been called in by the umpires. Sideline official is after pointing in the direction of the two umpires. A little bit of niggle off the ball there between a Castleknock defender and a Davis's forward. So just interesting to see what point of view the umpires have taken. I think it's probably Tom Quinn he's going to chat to.
Well, we know he's chatting to Quinn. We're not sure why.
Himself and Owen Lambert were in fairly close attention there.
It's a yellow card for Quinn.
They've worked the clock well, Thomas Davis. Probably one of the things that annoy people about the black card, that there's no, it's a 10-minute run regardless of how many stoppages or what's been taken. Fionn Murray coming out to take the free, knocks another 30 seconds. The goalkeeper's minute and a half maybe on a couple of kickouts. So Ryan Deegan, much and all, as he's...
Well, that's an interesting one. Cian Murphy ran across, took the free. Murray looked like he was shaping up to take the shot. Again, it just eats up the clock.
Yeah, and Ryan Deegan is stood on the sideline now, waiting to get back in. Great tackling by Rob Shaw, putting real pressure on Farrelly.
Sean Farrelly trying to get away from Shaw. Sean Farrelly, the nephew of the manager Kieran. Farrelly bottled up and dispossessed. Tom Quinn was held back after he won it, but Farrelly was being tugged back initially, so it was a free in. It's now a free out.
Yeah, no, I think he maybe pointed the wrong direction. Great work by Rob Shaw and Castleknock. Put real pressure on Farrelly. He thought he'd freed himself up once or twice to get the ball away, but he just couldn't find a pass. There wasn't enough support maybe to help him out there. Deegan's back on the field, so it's 15 on 15, and without him, all the Castleknock managed was a solitary point.
And Deegan's first act was to just give a little nudge to Kieran Kilkenny. Kilkenny sprints forward, doesn't get it though, he was well covered. Owen O'Brien. Ball spills kindly for blue and gold. Sawyer picked out Ger McDermott Rowe. The space was closed, so he couldn't get a shot off. Shane Boland, Kilkenny. Kilkenny trying to get through on Lambert. Off the woodwork, and it bounces kindly for Thomas Davis.
Yeah, just can't seem to catch a break at the minute for Castleknock. First time Kilkenny's cut in from that side, hits off the upright, drops into the grateful arms of Thomas Davis defender. Created chances, a couple of wides, one off the upright there in this second half. Just can't seem to get the radar ticking to get those couple of scores.
Carruth.
That said, Davis is yet to score in this second half.
Shorten. Running onto it, Guilfoyle. Carruth. Carruth will take this on. And that's easy for Connolly, who gets it out to Warnock.
Yeah, brilliant work by Rob Shaw. He just delayed on the shot. Rob Shaw got a hand in, made him pull the shot, dropped it into the goalkeeper's arms instead. Really great defending from Rob Shaw there that orchestrates the turnover.
And that's a Castleknock ball. Came off the leg of one of the Thomas Davis players as it went out. Castleknock are making a change.
Castleknock have been better second half in that they haven't allowed Thomas Davis get those run on them where they're able to create scores. But just the flip side of Castleknock's game at the minute, just can't catch a break, can't get a score. That just narrows the gap, starts asking a few questions to Thomas Davis. They've gone 10 minutes without a score in this second half. Their last score was in the 25th minute of the first half. So they're not prolific by any stretch of the imagination. So if Castleknock can get a couple of scores, they're right back in the mix here. But they're just struggling too to break it down. That's how defensive both teams are set up.
Spilled through the hands of Tom Quinn. Line ball, Thomas Davis. Ben Galvin is the one who's gone off, by the way. Here comes Conor Guilfoyle. Goal on! What a finish by Eamon Conroy.
What a massive turnover on the line. The line ball was Senan Forker looked to work it back to him. He missed the pass and went out over the end line. But then rather than reacting, they stood and watched. Quick sideline ball. Frees up Conroy inside and he sticks it into the net. And now there's a big gap there and Castleknock will need to empty the tank for the next 20 minutes. But a massive turnover.
7 between them. Castleknock need to start scoring. Kevin Kinlan moves it inside. Shane Boland is there, but it slips away from him. And even if he had secured possession, he was absolutely surrounded by green and gold. Davy Keogh. Gavin Carruth. Moved it on. Sean Kennedy gives it to Owen Kirby. Murray leaves it behind him, trying to get it up as Niall Milmore. Well, we saw Ballantyre St John's reel in a 10-point gap against Ballyboden St Enda's in the first game. Granted, it wasn't enough in the end, but it has been a day of comebacks so far. Well, a day of comebacks, by which I mean the other game that we've watched.
I'd stop pushing.
Yeah, thanks. Well, Kevin Kinlan misses that one by a distance.
Yeah, story of the day really. They just don't have anything working for them in their forward line. They're a bit out of shape in terms of how they're set up. They're not really sure whether they're trying to work the ball inside or whether they're going to take a shot from distance, and what you're getting is something in between, and they're sticking balls wide when they aren't getting opportunity to try and pass inside. Davis is on the other hand so good defensively and now finding a couple of those gaps.
Castleknock have to go for broke, so I guess those gaps are going to appear as they have here. Off the upright. Castleknock react the quickest, but it is out for a 45.
Yeah, great work by Farrelly. He's stuck to his task gamely there, trying to create scores. Comes off the upright. Castleknock react, but umpire deems that he stood out over the line there. Just on the flip side of the field there, just Castleknock really not firing from an attacking point of view. Working hard certainly, but you know, that mentioned just how tough it'd be to get scores given the way Davises are set up. As a consequence, they've only got 2 from play, and we're almost midway through this second half.
Well, it's looking good for Thomas Davis. Crokes, Ballyboden, Nafina already in the hat for the Senior 1 semi-final draw. Great strike by Murray. His third of the game, 2 frees and a 45. The Senior 2 semi-final draw also coming up after this game. St Vincent's are in it after their big win against St Pat's. St Sylvester's, St Bridget's and Plunkett's all also in the semi-final draw. Warnock. Castleknock need scores. They need them quickly. McDaniel in towards Kilkenny. Kilkenny, they need a goal. Great save.
What
Robert
a stop
Crilly
by
got
Robert
his hand
Crilly.
to it.
Yeah, outstanding save. Kilkenny did brilliant to use the body to shield the ball coming in, held off the defender. Crilly shut him down very quick, got a good hand on the ball. It looked like it might loop into the net, but just dropped out for a 45. Big save from Robert Crilly.
Well, it's not a bad tactic, is it? Put Kieran Kilkenny in the square. Can they get something out of the attack? The answer is no. I think they'll try that again. Kilkenny being picked up by Gavin Carruth. About the toughest football job you can get, isn't it? Picking up Kieran Kilkenny.
Yeah, he's done well. Kilkenny's got on ball, but he's stuck to a task. That was the first time he's probably got the better of him. He was bailed out by Crilly with a great save, and then the resultant 45 goes out wide.
A goal here for Thomas Davis will probably kill off the game. And they haven't got it. Steps. Free out.
Yeah, lucky break. I think Gary McCormack probably called it right. He had blown the whistle before anything happened. Looks like substitution taking place as well. Unlucky not to get the second goal out of it, but when you just compare, I think we're in double figures now for wides for Castleknock, and that's unforgivable really when you're creating chances that you're hitting that many of them wide. Even if you get half of those, 5 shots on target there, 5 scores would have you at 8 points. You're only a goal in the difference as opposed to being 11 points to 3 down.
Well, Forker has gone off for Castleknock. Who trail 11-3 when you make the conversion. Murphy has a runner in front. That's Kevin Kinlan. Sawyer, a good man to get a goal. They could do with one now. McDaniel. Kinlan receives it back. Fast hands there from Kevin Stevenson. Dara Warnock has an option in Kieran Murphy. Goes to Murphy. Murray read it really well and got in there and intercepted. Well, Castleknock, they've been lax in front of goals, as Coleman has said. Their wides has gone into double figures now, but around the field on occasion today as well, they've been guilty of hitting a few loose passes.
Yeah, but again, defensively brilliant from Thomas Davis. They know exactly what they're trying to do by the way they're set up. They're trying to spring that counter-attack. Okay, the counter-attack maybe doesn't have the strength in it in terms of the transition and players getting out to support the runner. So Fionn Murray there, he's left, I won't say isolated, but there's only 2 players busting a gut to help him out. If you could spring that to 5 players getting out at real pace, there's goal chances on when they're able to do it because they are so good defensively.
McDaniel, Castleknock of quality. Can they show that quality? Kevin Stevenson. That's a good score. A much needed score.
Yeah, it's a good score, but again, great score from a Castleknock perspective. But there's still 5 Davis' guys back there, so you're not going to get in soft for a goal, even though you've turned over Thomas Davis quite quickly. So that's the way they're structured. It's to mind the house, don't let a goal in. I think maybe there was a substitution made and someone hadn't left the field, so the referee is after going back to the goalkeeper. And there's also a Thomas Davis player injured or prone at the far end of the field here, so I'm not sure if he's going to hold play for that. Doesn't look like it. He's going to let things carry on.
Crilly, that's going to be intercepted. Good catch, McDermott Rowe, but then they waste the opportunity. 2 players went for the same ball, they collided, couldn't keep the possession, couldn't do anything with it. Free out for Thomas Davis.
Yeah, not the first time they've ran into, maybe a bit eager and two of them applying pressure for the one ball and they turn it over. I think it's Eamon Conroy at the other end of the field who still sat.
Lambert is being replaced.
He's had a good game, he's been very solid.
Yep.
And a black card's not going to help Castleknock's cause. Ger McDermott Rowe leaves the field, not 100% sure, obviously deemed to have pulled him to the ground.
Whatever could go wrong has gone wrong for Castleknock today. They haven't got one bit of luck. Thomas Davis have been very, very good. Their goal was really well taken, really well worked. And they have stuck to a game plan. They are incredibly hard to break down. Whoever they play in the semi-final, if they get to the semi-final, still a bit of a while to go yet, will have some challenge. Here's Cian Murphy trying to get around Shaw. Owen Kirby, Chris Sallier, Adam Fallon. Out it goes from Sean Kennedy. Rob Shaw trying to hold them up. The shot is released and goes over. That's some score.
Yeah, real score. They're playing well, Thomas Davis. They're working themselves into scoring opportunities. Big score. But defensively so sound. Gives them a great base when they set off on those attacks.
And Niall Milmore is going off.
Again, a squeeze on the kick out. Connolly has to go long.
Connolly does go long.
They've worked it really well, Thomas Davis. They set themselves up to press the kick out. They set themselves up then to drop back in big numbers. The real chance to hit them is on a quick break, but Castleknock, when they've done that, just haven't been clinical in front of goal.
Kirby. Good ball, well taken out in front. Guilfoyle. A fine score by Guilfoyle. It is not looking very good for Castleknock. It's looking very bright for Thomas Davis. 9 points the gap.
He's been really good today, Guilfoyle. Keeps showing, looking for the ball. Turns that time and knocks it over the bar with real pace. As you said, everything that can go wrong probably is for Castleknock, but for Davis's, everything they touch is turning to goal at the moment.
Well, Castleknock are due a bit of luck, due a bit of a break. Dara Warnock has Kinlan outside. Now Kinlan's inside. Stevenson. Boland. Boland hangs it up towards Kilkenny. It breaks off Kilkenny. He tries to run after the ball and get possession, but he can't. There was a push, it's a free out.
Still very crowded in there. I know what they're trying to do. You're picking out big, strong target man, but 3 Thomas Davis players around him. It's an almost impossible task, not only to win it, but to then turn and find a goal. Just hasn't clicked up front for Castleknock today. A lot of that credit has to go to Thomas Davis for the way they're set up, but even when they have managed to free themselves up, 11 wides, some of them were very kickable chances too. Just has handed that initiative to Thomas Davis, and they haven't really looked back across this second half. Took them a while to get a score, but when it came, it was a big goal, put them 1-7 to 3 points for the good. Hard to see a route back for Castleknock at this point.
And just remember, Ger McDermott Rowe is off on a black card offence. Guilfoyle couldn't keep his shot down. He's happy enough with the point though.
Yeah, he started behind his marker there. He just reacted quicker to the poor shot, got out in front, won the ball, spun and knocked it over the bar. Been a thorn in the Castleknock full back line all afternoon.
I was just about to say, I'm not sure if I actually did make the point. It was one of those things I was thinking about, so I'm not sure if I said it out loud. Castleknock down to 14 for almost the remainder of the game because Ger McDermott Rowe got black carded after 49 minutes.
Yeah, and in fairness, Davis is much better on the black card than maybe Castleknock were. Again, understanding the system, setting up defensively all the time, and this press on the kick out.
10 points the gap. Ballantyre St John's almost reeled in a 10-point gap in the last game. Can Castleknock do it here? It would take a massive finish. Nothing about what they've done so far today suggests they can do it, but it's football. You never know.
Well, they need to strike with a goal fairly quickly to try and turn things round. Great defending.
Fantastic defending. Owen O'Brien won the possession out in front of Conor Chalk, but it just gets away from him. And fantastic soccer style defending by Shorten. Waddock. I think that's Sallier who took it. He was fouled free in.
Yeah, came hard, won the ball hard. Wasn't sure if referee was going to look at it in terms of what way he went to the ground, but it'll give Fionn Murray a couple of seconds to, or time to knock more seconds off the clock.
Five minutes to go, 10 points the gap, so I feel comfortable enough about asking you about Thomas Davis in the semi-finals. Do they have to evolve their attack a little bit to have a chance?
Yeah, it's not so much that they have to evolve their attack. What they do so well, as you keep mentioning, is the way they set up defensively, where they have a little bit of where there's work required, I guess, is that transition when they get players out the field. How do they get them moving that little bit quicker so that if someone is breaking out with the ball, there's something to hit or there's some support there where they can try and create a score. That's not possible all the time, I get that. Sometimes it's okay to turn back and retain the possession. But when you're coming up against what's left in Senior 1 in terms of Ballybowden, Kilmacud, Crokes, Nafina, you're going to need to go for scores and go for the jugular when you get the opportunity. So if you're blocked up and held up again, then there's a good chance that they'll be able to turn you up because of their own physicality. So they've certainly got results today in their attacking line. Just pulls it to the left side of the goal. They've certainly got joy from an attacking perspective today because they've been able to move the ball. Our Castleknock haven't been able to stop them when they've been coming out, so they've managed to get those couple of scores. But they certainly need to just amend that breakout when they do turn over the ball.
The semi-finals in 2 weeks' time. You will be able to watch them, whether they're on here, TG Cahir or RTE, I'm not sure. Obviously there will be a lot of interest in them. Castleknock win a break in defence. We're back to hurling next Sunday. 2 quarter-finals. Of course, there is only 2 quarter-finals in hurling, given the way that competition is structured. And of course, on Friday night, Thomas Davis against Kilmacud Crokes in the Dublin ladies' final. That just sums it up for Castleknock.
Yeah, it does. Like they're trying to create space, they're trying to look for a goal, and then the ball drops short, gives Davis a chance to get out. And it's, from an attacking point of view, across the team, when the balls drop short like that, you've worked so hard to get out to create something. It sucks the life out of you. I know the clock is running down, and it's inevitable where the result is going and where Thomas Davis are heading for. But still, there's opportunity for Castleknock to get scores, and they just haven't been able to do it today.
And Thomas Davis on their way back to the semi-finals. Remember, they haven't won the Dublin Senior Football Championship since 1991. The halcyon days of a 3 in a row for the club. Castleknock, their wait for a Dublin Senior title will go on. Got to the final in 2016. Have been very competitive ever since without ever getting back to the final.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed today because it's not like they haven't created chances. We've mentioned the wide count has been so high for them. They have created chances, probably haven't managed to get Ciarán Kilkenny into the game, or he hasn't been in the game as much as he would have liked. Again, great credit to Thomas Davis for the way they've set up, but not only have they managed defensively, they've obviously created some good scoring opportunities. 3 very good points in the first half. Their goal was a great goal here in the second half, and they've enough clocked up to move on to a semi-final. I'm not 100% sure 111 is going to be good enough against what they're going to come up against in terms of opposition going forward. Absolutely, defensively they're going to be a challenge to break down, but I just think there's a bit more pace and power with what's left in this group versus where Castleknock are at. Well,
we saw against St Jude's on the last day of the group that when they need to put up a score, they can. A late rally in that game saw them through. I think 2-13, I think, from memory, not in the rally, the total score.
Yeah. But I think Jude's had to open up a little bit in that game. They were both looking for a result, so it's not the way Jude's would generally set up to play.
Okay.
They opened up. They're usually quite rigid themselves defensively.
Murray doesn't have enough, shouldn't make a difference today.
So just think what your for Thomas Davis in particular, they're probably the team that are outside of that group, and that's not trying to be disrespectful to them. You know, Nafina are a team that are coming for a number of years. To make it to a semi-final is a big step for them. Kilmacud Crokes, we've seen all year, are probably the standout team. How they're able to, you know, move and evolve in terms of their play and what they're able to do and eke out results. And then Ballybode we've seen today, very strong, very physical in terms of how they set up. So there's a lift in where Thomas Davis are trying to get to. You know, it's 2 weeks to turn around into semi-finals, but they've, you know, performed very well today and well deserving of the performance and the scores that they've generated. But Castleknock probably not the same challenge that's going to be down the track.
Well, this is a good omen for Thomas Davis. They beat Castleknock on their way to the final in 2019. Didn't reach the knockout stages in 2020 and got to the quarter-finals from memory last year. Murray. Thomas Davis just seeing this one home.
Yeah, happy to wind down the clock. Again, just Castleknock, they get into an attacking position, turn over the ball, 30 yards out from goal. Won't say it's been the story of the afternoon, but they just have lacked that. Just lacked really an attacking vision across the day today, certainly in the second half. They've struggled to really make any inroads. But through and through, Davis is just far better structure.
Castleknock, like Thomas Davis, have more to look forward to next weekend. Their senior 2 hurlers in quarter-final action. That might be a black card.
Yeah, I think it's the way he brought him to the ground. It's definitely black card territory, so they're going to get one back, but they're going to lose one, I think. Yeah, black card.
It is a black card for Tom Quinn.
Yeah, give Fionn Murray a chance to tag on another score. And he'd been booked previously, so it translates to a red card for Tom Quinn to the end of his day today, certainly, but into next year as well. Now, when you look at it, it was 7 points to 2 at half time. Goal and 4. They knocked this one over for a goal and 5 across the second half. Castleknock's reply has been just 2 scores either side of the half time break.
Yep. Well,
tough afternoon for them.
Yep. Eamon Conroy has got the only goal so far. He actually got a goal when these two met in the league earlier in the season as well. 4-16 to 110, the final score that day. Not anything like that today. But enough for Thomas Davis. Remember, the draw for the Senior 1 and Senior 2 semi-finals coming up shortly after we go off air from this game. But there's more work to do. Thomas Davis still looking for more. Cian Murphy gets it out to Conroy, the goal scorer. We just mentioned him. But he kicked it wide there. Or was that Kirby? Sorry, I think that was Kirby actually who kicked that wide.
Yeah, great work again, Rob Shaw. He's been probably the best defender for Castleknock today. Really worked hard, both in attack and defence, but so strong there. Worked really hard to put pressure on the Thomas Davis player.
Boland, this is tough on him. The player manager leaves everything out there. He's worked really hard today. He's worked doubly hard through the season, having to both manage and play. Seamus O'Carroll from County Limerick. Owen O'Brien, foul, free in. Kevin Stevenson. Can they find a way through and get even a consolation goal? Conor Chalk got on it. Here's Stevenson running onto it now. Paul Burke. Chalk back inside. Dara Warnock.
Yeah, not only is it a wall of green, they're very physical when they come through the line, so it's not easy to break it, and then when you do break it, you're going to be hit hard on it. Taps it over the bar for what, you know, is a consolation score. 15 minutes since their last score. That's the difficulty Castleknock have had. Haven't managed to put together any run of scores. Everything has come after a run of Thomas Davis scores, and that similarly has come on the back of 4 scores for Thomas Davis.
Well, they'll have to pick themselves up for the Senior 2 hurling quarter-finals next weekend. Those of the Castleknock players who are dual. For Thomas Davis, they've got work to do in the Senior 2 hurling as well, but they're in a relegation playoff. But it's a happy day for them today in football because they are through to the semi-finals, and deservedly so, it has to be said. Coleman Goggins.
Yeah, definitely. First half built the platform for them, 7-2 up at the break. Despite the fact they lost Ryan Deegan before half time, they managed that 10 minutes without him and only conceded a score. That probably told the tale of where Castleknock were at today. From an attacking point of view, they didn't seem to have that bit of structure up front. When they did create chances, they pulled too many of them the wrong side of the posts. I think they 11 wides, I think I tagged them for across the afternoon here. In contrast to that, Thomas Davis, so good defensively. I've been not being critical, but I've probably questioned how quick they are getting out when they do turn over the ball. But credit to them up front through the likes of Guilfoyle, Conroy, and inside with Owen Kirby and Farrelly. That inside line were really strong and deserving winners. They move on to a semi-final. Probably need to up their game heading up what they're coming up against in terms of opposition, but they've given themselves a chance to get there.
And we'll find out who that opposition will be in a few minutes' time, because we've got both the Senior 1 and Senior 2 football semi-final draws to come for the Go-Ahead Dublin Championship 2022. In Senior 1, in the hat, Thomas Davis. You've just seen that. Also there, Nafina, Ballyboden and Kilmacud Crooks, the defending champions. In the Senior 2 draw, it's Plunkett's, it's Bridget's, it's Sylvester's, it's Vincent's. Remember, 2 come up from Senior 2. Whoever reaches the final will guarantee their spot in Senior 2 for next season. Relegation-wise from Senior 1, Clontarf down, Raheny secured their spot by beating them today, and yesterday Skerries overcame Round Towers. So Skerries are safe, as are Raheny. A doubly good day for Brian Fenton, who obviously is playing for Raheny and who is a Shelbourne fan. They won the FAI Cup quarter-final against Bulls, but our concentration was on Gaelic football, where Thomas Davis have beaten Castleknock 112 to 5 points. Earlier on we watched Ballyboden beat Ballantyre in a game that I'm sure the Ballyboden mentors will think was a lot closer than it needed to be in the finish. Coleman, stay with us. You, if you're watching, please stay with us, because we've got the draw coming up in a couple of minutes. Remember, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, this stuff will all pop up automatically. Anytime we've got live games or draws or anything like it, you won't have to go looking, it'll just pop up. For now, we will say goodbye, but do stay with us and we'll be back in a few minutes.